Hello, everyone. Welcome to the premiere of TV Inquiry, hosted by none other than Miguel. Hello. Thank you so much for joining us. Joining me actually, because this is my first time doing it by myself. But thank you so much for joining me during this little project that I had. I've been having this in mind for a while, and I got to give out Adam a shout out, of course, because he definitely inspired me to push my boundaries in the sense of one, recording myself, and also two, tackling some projects that I've had a hard time kind of, I guess, bringing to screen, if that makes sense. So again, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. For those wondering what is TV Inquiry about, I feel like for those who have listened to me, know that this is a show about TV shows, specifically the shows that I've checked out and I've had gotten a chance to see, as well as from pilot episodes to the end of their seasons to different streaming platforms where, in a sense, I basically have two shows that I want to recommend to you because I love talking about shows, and I feel like there's so much content out there. There's so much that can be seen and can be recommended, but I will give you a breakdown of what the TV show is to me, going from just basically everything that you can ever possibly know about the show without any key details or spoilers. So the foundation of the show at the end of the day is going to be based upon the first episode and how the show carries on from that first episode to the end of the series without giving any spoilers. Now that seems very difficult, truthfully, and I'm going to do my best to not spoil anything for you guys. So please bear with me because I am really excited to talk about these episodes today, or these shows today. And just to begin off the bat, we will be talking about two shows today. The first one is Watchmen. And no, I'm not talking about the TV series or the recent TV series or the movie. I'm talking about the TV miniseries adapted in 2008. And then we're going to go with a little bit something more current called Class of '07, which premiered this year, early March 27, 2023. And I'm not comparing the two. I don't want you to feel like that or that I'm, in a sense, going in that direction. What I want you guys to get from this is that these are two completely whole different shows, but it's something that I want you to check out and view, because either they are not talked about enough or they are under the radar, as well as something that can be viewed and appreciated even when they don't get another season, or they also don't get any more or they get canceled. You know what I'm saying? Those are very similar, but just to show that there are some really good shows out there, and in a sense, kind of giving preservation to these shows because it's art, and no matter what formula it can be described to. Because for me, at least, whenever I see shows and whenever I see things, I always look for something that automatically appeals to me, in the sense of genre, whether it's drama, mystery, sci-fi, thriller, comedy, things like that, but also too that I can apply in a sense to my life and see if in any way, shape, or form I can learn from, because we deal with so many shows that give so many messages and have so many narratives, but do we ever really talk about what did you ever learn from this show? So for me, I'll try to do my best to transcribe that for myself. And and without further ado, welcome to TV Inquiry. Okay, so Watchmen TV miniseries 2008, setting the tone, setting the scene. Here we are. It's genre, for those who don't know, who probably are familiar with, but it's an animation, drama, mystery, and sci-fi. It originally aired on July 17th in 2008. Its runtime was one season, 12 episodes, each episode belonging to 22 minutes, and overall belonging to the season being a total of 5 hours and 26 minutes. For those who are unaware of what the Watchmen series is, it is basically a legendary British comic book artist by the name of Dave Gibbons, best known in the United States as the co-creator illustrator of Watchmen, where he brings the best-selling graphic novel to life in this animated series. With Given's oversight, all 12 chapters of the story are included, with animation adding motion, voice, and sound to the book's strikingly down panels. The plot. Now, those for you who haven't seen it or who aren't aware of Watchmen, or want to compare it to the recent television series produced by HBO Max, it is completely different in the sense where, for this plot, it is in October 1985 during the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan and on the eve of nuclear war. A depressed Rorschach Rorschach, sorry, third time's a charm, right? One of several outlawed vigilante superheroes begins to investigate while all the former masked superheroes are either dead or have declined. So, off the bat, it's kind of a murder mystery, but not fully, completely, in the sense where this is a character that we focus on, where he's the detective in this whole mess, and he is bringing that story to life and uncovering some truths from the past, as well as matching the truths from the present. It is narrated by Tom Stitcholt, Thomas Andrew Stitcholt, who, by the way, who you guys may have heard of, was an American film and television actor. His most prominent role may have been that of the presidential candidate Robert Arthur in The Manchurian Candidate. He has also guest appearance on the television series Law and Order and Law and Order: Criminal Intent and Miss Columbo. So, does that appeal so far? Personally, I was intrigued. However, what I like about the show a lot is, off the bat, a visual graphic novelization of the Watchmen graphic novel. A sensational introduction to the world of that graphic novel and an engaging visual read. For people like me who loved a visual representation but some way or somehow couldn't engage with the material because of the visuals, this is probably something that you would probably like, or I recommend checking out. There's so much that I enjoyed from this miniseries because it served as an introduction for newcomers and hopefully kept them engaged into this new world where heroes no longer hold their identity secret, but instead are more political figures that do more the good than bad. However, there's malice with each and every one of them, and that's where the story and mystery unfold. I what I loved about this show was seeing how it came more of like, instead of it being a read, because you can easily go on Amazon or go anywhere to your local bookstore and like buy these graphic novels, right, and like get your own sense of an introduction to this world. But for people who, I think growing up, for me, my biggest issue was reading a book where I had to visualize more in my imagination as opposed to seeing it physically, was more of a stretch because I was too in tune with the characters and how things were painted out for me, the panels. Like, I've never been a fan, not saying that I've never been a fan, but I've never had the attention span to hold on to something like that, as opposed to how books are in comparison. Because for me, when I read books, I tend to just go off and just have my imagination take me further than anywhere I can think of. And for me, I think I see it more as a movie playing in my head as opposed to seeing it and seeing the visuals. But for me, I think I just got distracted. And I feel like when I first saw this, it was right off the bat when I finished seeing The Flash. And I saw the animation of the Flashpoint Paradox on Max. And under suggestions, it was Yumi like this. And this show came to fruition, where I felt like I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot, because I had seen the live action Watchmen movie, and I have also seen the TV show, and I did gravitate towards that dark and gritty world, but each representation of this material is very different to what is the actual graphic novelization. So for me, it was like, okay, now I'm seeing the source. I'm seeing the influences that both show and film have both combined to create their own worlds. And I'm also going to talk about I already said what I like, but I will also kind of say, in a sense, what fans disliked and what fans liked too. People that I tend to just kind of get more of an earful from. And this is coming from an IMDb review, which gave it an 8 out of 10. And in a sense, this encapsulates more than I could probably say about this universe, because this is from a fan that probably has read the graphic novelization and saw the show, saw the movie, and saw the revamp of the show as well. And it comes from Kanoya 1984. That's his username, by the way. I hope I'm saying that right. And if you ever listen to this, thank you. And also, I'm sorry for butchering your name or your username. But he states, this is a curio. Simple as that. And yet it's hard to ignore the work that went into it. This is one of a kind occurrence. Normally, a book is translated into an audio format like a radio play at best, and with a narrator or sometimes actors playing various roles. For example, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. The audiobook has done this. With Watchmen, unlike the movie by Zack Snyder, this is absolutely faithful to the source with every panel included. The only thing it lacks, somewhat sadly, are those novel type in between chapters in Watchmen, such as the excerpts from Under the Hood, and with Dave Gibbons and the original colorist included. It's a pleasure to watch the images come to life, and with a level of vibrancy that does make one see the recreation of an entire masterwork. As with the book, you can get sucked in and want to watch the entire thing. The only big difference, however, and the most glaring deterrent, is that when reading the Watchmen books, you can fill in the gaps in the characters with your own voices and accents and things as with any book, and pause at will. With this, it's a continuous and with one voice only. This isn't to decry Tom Stechel too much, since he bounces between the male characters reasonably well. He even puts on a clever Nixon accent. But when it comes to the women or with certain minorities, the pregnant Vietnamese woman, it doesn't really work that well. It's a matter of taste, perhaps, but they should have tried for a few more actors to voice people to cover the book on video. But if you're a big fan of the book and you have interest in seeing something like this that hasn't been done before, do check it out. It's only a few episodes, and it's an approach that could pave the way for more, which, depending on point of view, is a great thing or a terrible thing. At least it's an admirable experiment. I couldn't have said it better myself. I did my research to this completely because I wanted to give you guys more insight on the production value of it. Seeing the show in its entirety, because I did binge watch it, I 100% agree with Konoha 1984. Only because of certain aspects that I had mentioned prior, meaning as in like when you're reading a book, you're seeing it in your own head, you're voicing these characters and stuff like that. But when it's an actual on-screen visualization, and you want to kind of see that variety, had there been more actors involved, voice actors that being, I felt like the story could have been broadcasted better in that sense. It delivered everything that I probably could have imagined, from the source material to everything from like crucial elements that skyrocket the narrative in its entirety. Overall, my final consensus on this show is I truly believe it is a show that can grab your attention because the first episode captures the essence of the graphic novel. It's a TV miniseries that I would recommend because even though it has only one season, it was made with the intention of capturing an audience of variety. Those new and old fans that can come back to this material and appreciate it for what it is. It's a similar experience to the graphic novel upon first. Is it a similar experience to the graphic novel upon first read? Possibly. However, there's an intended audience and a way to broadcast a new style show that can be ranged and appeal to a new and older viewer. Please check out the show because I definitely enjoyed it. I'm not one to pick up a comic. I appreciate the art behind that, behind everything about that. But I'm a person that grew up reading novels, and yet this appealed to me, and I binged it through and through. That is why I think you should check this out. I feel like it's a form of art that was a bit ahead of its time, but has transcribed into an art that can be appreciated. And that's all I can really say about this show. If you haven't checked it out, it's on HBO Max now, formerly Max or Max, and it's there. You can check it out. You just Google it. Of course, other representations are going to show up, but you'll see it when you see it, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts about it. All right, so the second show that I wanted to mention is Class of '07. It's a completely whole different show and also a completely whole different streaming service. Class of '07 is an Australian comedy television series created by Casey Anning and stars Emily Browning, Megan Smart, Caitlin Stacy, among others. It premiered on Prime Video on March 17, 2023. Its quick synopsis is an apocalyptic tidal wave hits during the 10-year reunion of an all girls high school. The group has to find ways to survive on the island peak of their old high school campus while dealing with old high school drama. The first episode is literally called Bird Shit. It's directed and written by Casey Anning, as so is the rest of the show. And just to summarize the first episode, because I really want you guys to check this out. It's Zoe appears on an Australian dating show, The Match. When she is rejected, she goes on a rant against the man rejecting her, culminating in her releasing a dove, which accidentally defecates in her mouth, in her open mouth. For those who don't know, the bird literally poops on her, but in her mouth. The moment goes viral, leading Zoe to cut herself off from society for 6 months, staying on an isolated property her father owns. When water suddenly starts bursting from the ground, Zoe seeks higher ground and accidentally stumbles across her 10-year high school reunion. The other women believe that Zoe warnings about the flash flooding are another example of her dramatics and ignore her with a disastrous consequence. Doesn't that show sound already incredible? Are you kidding me? First of all, when it comes to high school reunions, mine's on the cusp. I think I have 2 more years of my high school reunion to go back to. I think Adam and I have both mentioned that we wouldn't ever return. Obviously, because now things are different. I think high school reunions back then were more of a, you didn't have the technology to communicate as often, so you would have to physically return to the place where you wanted to leave so badly, and catch up with all these people that you met. I love the preface. I completely was hooked. I think Emily Browning is one of the greatest actresses I've ever seen on screen, and the fact that she was doing TV, I immediately decided to jump on it because every time she's ever been in films, she's captivating. She's a strong lead, and I also really like the fact that she decided to do something completely out of her, I guess, like norm. Because normally you see Emily Browning in more serious roles. I can give examples of like Sucker Punch or Limited Snippets in a series of unfortunate events, both films that I grew up with and saw her in as well. So my idea of her as an actress has always been shaped around that. For her to approach comedy in this sense is all thanks and grateful to Casey Anning's writing, because off the bat, she introduces characters, she puts them in situations that are berserk and completely funny and relatable, because from that show, that made up fictional show called The Match, to open up the show with that and then see it, you're immediately kind of hooked, because let's face facts, reality television typically is more of a forefront for people that do like television in general. They would rather see a television show that is based on real life because they can relate to, as opposed to a drama series that is being talked about and kind of forced upon you. No shade to those series whatsoever, but I feel like as a general audience, that's usually what people gravitate towards. For me, I loved everything about this from the first episode, and the best part is that it's only 30 minutes. You can binge watch this series. It hasn't been confirmed for a second season, unfortunately. However, I don't want you guys to miss this show out, because think about it. You're in your high school reunion and it's the end of the world, and now suddenly you're trapped with these people that you had either really fond memories of or complete and disastrous hatred towards. And now you have to be forced upon a situation where you have to kind of kick that aside and turn on your survival skills and be like, are we going to be here forever, or are we going to be saved? Or do I even want to work with you because of all this past trauma that I have? The best thing that I can talk about, though, is the reception that it's gotten, because in a sense, and I'm quoting Anna Govertz of Pace, which called the series a brutal and raw examination of womanhood and the after effects of high school, a love letter to the female friendships, and a raunchy and rowdy good time to boot. I think that's the best way to describe it, because it is a love letter, because it is a all-star female cast. And the comedic presence of each and single one of these women on this, it just gives you a really, really, really great time. I did see the whole thing. I'm not going to say how it evolves, but I will say that it is a roller coaster ride of an emotional and relatable mess. I cannot. I really wish they pick up another season of this because I love the show. I want them to explore more about how these characters, Zoe and Amelia, navigate towards a post-apocalyptic world. I'm so sorry, and like come to fruition to that because they've already kind of already established themselves here. Now, how is that in the rest of the world? So those are the two shows. Between the two, again, one's a uh, drama, sci-fi, and mystery, which is Watchmen, and now you have a comedy series that also includes drama as well, but also has kind of like peak moments where you can probably relate to. And I hope to whoever views this, you see that there's some share of similarity. However, there's worlds difference, and they need more recognition because these are shows. One's from 2008, and then this one's a more recent one. And the narrative of it all is that they all have a similar drive through them. And I want you guys to compare and contrast them on your own, or even just see one of them and let me know your thoughts. Again, thank you so much because I think that's all my concluding thoughts on this. Thank you so much. I love this show. I do recommend it. I think it's a fun watch. And it's something that I feel, even if you don't have the streaming service for it, I feel like if you get a free trial for it and watch it all in one day, you would enjoy it because these are some shows that kind of get overlooked. And it isn't until they either end up on TikTok or, there's a resurface of it because of new revamped material added to it wouldn't be getting its flowers that I'm giving to right now. So thanks again so much for tuning in with my episode. I really appreciate you guys. Check out the show. Let me know at Our Real Addiction on Instagram if you do enjoy it. And again, make sure to follow, like, and subscribe and share the Our Real Addiction YouTube channel. It would help us worlds. So thank you so much again for doing this. And as always, I'm Miguel, Sic Parvis Magna.